false community guideline strike. So unfortunately, I am unable to respond to your questions, comments, or concerns. However, you guys did email me some questions. Like I said, I don't know if it's my phone that's glitching, or I don't know if it is my YouTube app that's glitching, guys. However, I don't know if it's my phone or the YouTube app that's glitching. However, it logged me out. This has happened numerous times in the past, and it is very annoying. It really is. So glad you guys were able to hop onto this live stream from the previous one if you were able to do so. Do apologize. Like I said, my phone is glitching or the YouTube app is glitching. Might be my phone. I have to see if I can like do like an internal diagnostic for it or something, because this is like the second time, or this is more than the second time this has happened. So if you're able to hop on, really appreciate you for being here. I'm trying to leave a comment in the previous stream letting the people who are on that stream know that I started a new one, but I'm unable to enter the live chat because the chat is disabled, so I can't even tell y'all that I started a new stream. But I'm just going to answer up the questions that y'all sent me via email, and then I am going to end the stream. So this stream's not going to be too long since I can't see your comments in the chat, but I see your comments via email that you emailed me, so I'm going to answer that. But let me see. Have you ever discovered an implicit bias within yourself? How did you confront it? I don't know. I feel like yeah. Yeah, I feel like I've definitely had an implicit bias in myself, right? How did I confront it? I just identified it, and I was like, oh, okay, the person didn't hear me say anything. It wasn't harmful. I don't think so. It was all good with me. Because I feel like the thing with biases, we are all going to have biases, right? Some people are going to be discriminatory, right? We can all have biases, but the problem comes in when we feel comfortable enough to share our biases or share our discriminatory beliefs with people outside of yourself, right? If you believe in something discriminatory, if you believe in something biased, keep that internally. Why do you feel comfortable enough to go and share it with a mass amount of people? I feel like that's where the problem comes in, right? But guys, bias sometimes is just not liking or accepting things that are different than yourself. And have I encountered that? Definitely, for sure. But like, I'm not sharing it with everybody, so there's no harm with that, right? But I feel like everyone has a form of it, just don't share it. How can public administrators design systems that reduce the implicit bias? Well, people have tried it, right? That's just increased workplace training. That's what has been happening. And welcome everybody to the live stream. Uniquely Mia here. Unfortunately, I'm unable to see your comments in the chat. The YouTube algorithm disabled my chat because they gave me a false community guideline strike, because the YouTube AI bot thinks I'm a minor between the ages of 13 to 15. I did appeal the decision. However, I cannot see your chat, unfortunately, your comments. But some of my supporters, shout out to y'all, have emailed me some questions. So I'm going through my email right now, my professional email, responding to those questions. So make sure to like the video, subscribe, and the next time I live stream on Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, my chat will be back up. So let me answer. How can public administrators design system to reduce the impact of implicit bias? Yeah, as I said, training, workplace training, and that has already been implemented. Workplace training for people, things like that. So let me fluctuate to another question. Okay. Would you rather hop everywhere or skip everywhere? Skip, for sure. I feel like skipping is definitely fun, right? I've skipped when I was younger. I still skip sometimes when I'm home. Skipping is fun for sure. It makes you much taller because you get to hop up. I feel like hopping, I feel like it's much strenuous, right? Because like you have to, like, I don't think I could hold up my own body weight. That's why I don't do push-ups, not push-ups, pull-ups. That's why I don't do pull-ups. Like, I don't think I could support my own body weight, right? I feel like hopping is the same thing. So skipping, you're taking some of that weight off you. Would you rather have an unlimited supply of makeup and skincare or your own home by the age of 30? I'm not really a makeup or skincare girly, so I feel like the own home, honestly, but I'd rather have enough money to travel by then. Yeah, I feel like my mom, she would definitely like me to have my own home by that age, but I don't know. My mom really has a home. I already have a home from my mom, right? So I'd rather use that money and travel everywhere or just do what I want to do with it rather than just invest it somewhere else. Unless the home, I'm going to resell it and make money off of that, then that's a different thing, right? But, like, for me to own it personally, my mom already has that, already got that by default. Would you rather never have to commute to work again or always have a 3-day weekend? I mean, I never really had to commute. Well, when I had an internship, I had to commute. Luckily, all my careers that I've had for the last 5 years, it's been relatively close. The commute hasn't been terrible, right? But would you rather have to commute to work? Would you rather never have to commute to work again or have a 3-day weekend? 3-day weekend. Will that'll cut into I don't know. Well, I don't know. 3-day weekend or never have to commute. I feel like never having to commute would definitely save you money in the long run for sure, right? But a 3-day weekend could be fun, but you can't really travel internationally a lot for the 3-day weekends, especially if you have multiple of them, right? And if you have those multiple 3-day weekends, I feel like you are going to want to do fun stuff. Not every weekend, but almost every weekend. So you're going to be spending more money, right? So you're saving money with one, and one could lead you to spend more, right? That's a great question. I'll go, never have to commute. Honestly, I'll go with that one. Would you rather Kim Kardashian or Kris Jenner was your mother? Neither. I like my mom. I like my mom. Would I have rathered my mom has Kris Jenner's connection? Probably, right? Because that woman is wealthy, right? That woman is super duper wealthy, and I remember when her daughter, the one who's the model, when she wanted to be a model, her mom, all she had to do was call the agencies and be like, yeah, my daughter wants to do this. And the agency was like, okay, bet, bring her in. And look at the girl. She's the woman. She's like a supermodel now, right? So I'd rather keep my mom, but I'd rather my mom have Kris Jenner connections and resources for sure. Would you rather have to do a handstand after every meal or a cartwheel? Oh, man. Cartwheel. I used to do a cartwheel when I was younger a lot. Would you rather have super slow internet or low phone battery? I hate slow internet, but I'll go with the slow internet because if I have a low phone battery, I can't stream, right? I can't stream with a low phone battery. I cannot post the fully nutritional YouTubes. I can't record content. And if I get lost, Google Maps and Uber is going to save me, right? So that low phone battery is not going to be in my favor, but the slow internet, no matter how annoying it's going to be. I've been in situations. I remember I used to go to the movies at my school. That's why for a while I stopped going, but I used to go to the movies a lot, right? And when I tell you the internet used to be so slow to order Uber, but and I was so scared, what if the internet doesn't work? But the internet worked, it was just so slow, but I was still able to get the Uber to come back to school, right? So I'll take the slow internet because if I have a low phone battery and that phone battery dies, that's scary. How can public administrators, okay, read that. What role should training programs play in helping public officials recognize bias? I think a lot of time when public officials have bias, they're aware of that bias. I feel like that's a thing too. That's so funny because if we look at the United States Constitution, the United States government, and the laws that have been passed, right? At least the important ones and the very impactful ones, they are laws that do not promote bias, right? However, if you're running for a political office, it is encouraged that you have bias. Look at Republicans. Look at Democrats, the main two political parties. Guys, they have bias. That's bias. And they're put against each other, and it is encouraged. That is encouraged by the United States government to have your bias when you're running for political office. So I don't think there's any training that we can implement that's going to allow public officials to recognize their bias, because when they run for office, normally if you're a Republican, you're very conservative. You have conservative beliefs, and you want to put those conservative beliefs on other people. That's bias. If you are a Democrat, right? You don't have conservative beliefs, but Okay, yeah, you don't have conservative beliefs. You just want to make it, you just want people to have the choice, right? You want to just make everything equal for people, right? Nothing wrong with that, but like that is conservatives can see that as a form of bias, right? So like political office, like politicians, they're encouraged to have that bias. So there's not really training that can be implemented. I guess the only form of training that can be implemented is, but then again, it's not even going to work. I was going to say to make them aware of the bias, right? So that they implement laws that are fair. But then again, if we're looking at one political party, sometimes the laws that they want to implement, it's not going to be fair to everybody, right? So yeah, that's the thing. But what's our next question? Would you rather, okay, answer that. Okay. You can only hear one song for the rest of your life. Okay. Would you rather Baby by Justin Bieber or Red by Taylor Swift? Let's go with Justin Bieber. Can't do Taylor. Can't do Taylor. Yeah, let's go with Justin Bieber. Would you rather be a character in your favorite TV show? Okay. Or my favorite TV show not exist. Character in a favorite TV show for sure. For sure. I've never actually thought of what TV show, right? Because I love a lot of them. You got the originals. We got the I don't like the Vampire Diaries. We got the originals. We have Charmed, right? Xena the Warrior Princess. I love Xena, but I don't want to be in Xena. Too outdated for me. I'll be into originals, but I want to be a hybrid, right? I want to be a hybrid. Legacies doesn't exist. Let's forget about Legacies, right? But if I have to be a hybrid, that means I have to be like on Klaus Michelson's team, because if you upset Klaus, you're done for, right? So that's not good. I could be Charmed. Being in Charmed would be really cool, but like if you're a character outside of like the Charmed sisters, you're not that important anyway, right? So like very iffy with Charmed, but my favorite shows, they definitely do have to exist for sure. Okay, let's answer some more questions. Are implicit bias more dangerous when they go unrecognized or when people deny they exist? When they go unrecognized, people deny they exist. I feel like when they go unrecognized, because remember, if things go unrecognized, that means, let's say if we're looking at a corporation is aware that majority of their employees have this form of implicit bias. If it goes unrecognized and a new employee is hired, that culture is going to continue to exist, right? If somebody like an African-American, 9 times out of 10, because that's who most implicit biases are directed towards, right? So if I'm a customer at that business and this implicit bias among the employees has gone unrecognized, anytime somebody of minority group goes into that restaurant, they're going to have a negative experience because that implicit bias has not been recognized by the corporation, and they don't want to provide additional training. They choose not to reprimand their employees when the employees are discriminatory or biased towards people. That's not good, right? I feel like when we're looking at people when they deny they exist, guys, I can deny whatever. I can deny, you guys can call me uniquely Mia. I can deny that I'm uniquely Mia. What are y'all going to do about it? Say I'm uniquely Mia? I deny it. I'm not uniquely Mia. Deny, deny, deny. You guys are still saying I'm uniquely Mia, right? So you guys saying is still going to exist, right? So think about it this way. If I'm in a job and I have implicit bias, right? And my supervisor comes to me and the supervisor is like, you have this form of implicit bias. This isn't good. Deny. I deny that. I denied it. I don't have it. I'm saying that. Okay. So what? My manager's going to walk away and no additional training is going to be implemented, so it's going to go unrecognized, right? You see how that's bad? However, see how it's bad? So yeah, you can deny whatever they want, but if the rules are mandated, training's mandated, if I deny it, I still have to go through the training, which is better than nothing in my opinion. Okay. How can communists work? You guys keep asking me this thing about communism, guys. Let me Google the definition of communism. Like, this is the second or third question I get about communism. Let's see. I don't know everything. If I knew everything, I'd be a genius. And let's see when I'll be here. Let's see. Okay. 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 We'll come back to the communist question in a minute. How can communities work together to address collective bias? How can communities work together to address collective bias? Exposure. That's the only way I feel like to address it. You need to be exposed, definitely. Like that's it, guys. It comes honestly to that truth. the way to diminish bias, right? The way to make people not believe in biases anymore, have those biases. The way to make people not believe in stereotypes anymore or discrimination, you just need to be exposed to people who you have those bias or discriminatory views towards, and your mind needs to be open. That's honestly it. You just need the exposure. Okay, we got another question. Was curious hello, hope you're doing well. Was curious about what your future plans are for your channel, or are you going to keep it the same, just do more of what you already do? Okay, because you'll have more time on my hand. Okay, so you're asking, because I said I'm graduating. Yeah, what I'm planning on doing when I'm home, I have more time on my hands, right? So I am going to have a streaming schedule for 2026, right? But I currently stream 3 times a day. For 2026, I'll probably up it to 4 times a day for you. Not 4 times a day. I stream 3 times a week, right? For 2026, I'll probably try and stream 4 times a week for y'all. If I do something really cool, you'll get the spontaneous additional live streams, right? So, my future plans, with the channel, as it relates to my YouTube channel, I'm going to continue to show you what my life is like, right? You'll still get the full nutritional YouTube videos. You'll probably get more consistent full nutritional YouTube videos, right? Because I'll be home, so I'll be able to, like, just do day in my life in New York, right? Those type of videos, I feel like people like those a little bit. So I'll be able to do that a little more for y'all. So you don't really have that much full nutritional YouTube videos on my channel. It's more so live streams. And yeah, I'm going to continue to show you what my life is like. Even though I won't be in school, I'll still make education videos for y'all because I'll have a lot more free time, so I can go through my previous papers and make videos about, like, the topics I wanted to do in the past, but I just never came around to doing it when I'm in school. So I'll definitely do that. So you'll get the education videos still. And then my family and I, we're going on a really cool adventure next year. So you'll get some more travel videos thrown in there as well. So yeah, so we're gonna mostly keep it the same but do a little bit more. And as always, if y'all want, like, if you have a video request that you want, like, any type of video you guys want me to make about a topic, just let me know. If I'm able and comfortable to do so, I'll be more than happy to do that for y'all. But yeah, my channel is pretty streamlined and cohesive. It's like what you see is what you get. And if you go to my YouTube homepage and click playlist, you'll see the occasional, like, travel videos or the adventure videos. I do have those, but, like, it's not always consistent because I don't consistently like travel to a new place every single month or, like, every 3 months, right? So yeah, but definitely more live streams and full nutritional YouTube videos and YouTube shorts and food videos. I cannot forget the food. When I'm home, my mom cooks. And even if my mom doesn't cook, I feel like New York is a state, right? You can just go out and buy good food, right? And when you get good food, you do food reviews. So there's definitely going to be a lot more food reviews for y'all to see. Great questions. All right, let's see. What changes would you like to see in education to help reduce implicit biases in future generations? What changes would I like to see in education? To help reduce implicit bias in the future generations. Low key, they're banning a lot of books, so we would hope that implicit bias would decrease. But there's, like, a banned book list, and I've heard that some K through 12 teachers are saying they're starting to ban, like, students learning about slavery and things like that in the class. So with all that in mind, maybe, like, unfortunately, younger generation of students are probably not going to they're probably going to have a lot of implicit bias, right? Or just discriminatory views, which is unfortunate a little bit, right? But once again, in education, I guess just be more, open, I guess you can say, with different people who are different, right? Because one thing that I've seen, and I never really realized it until I would be on social media, and like New York has a new mayor, right? So using that example, they said this mayor of New York, youngest mayor of New York in, like, a century, right? And then he's also Islamic, right? He's Muslim, right? So when he was running for his candidacy, one of the, like, one thing that his opponents was saying, and other people in society who didn't want him to win, they were like, you guys are gonna elect a Muslim as your mayor? Like, your state of New York is not gonna be good anywhere. They're saying a whole bunch of crazy things. And like, I saw that and I'm like, okay, why are you saying that? That was kind of interesting. Because it was interesting for two reasons. Like, one, that's low-key discriminatory. And it was interesting too because America we don't have like a ruling religion, right? There, if you look at like the country and the constitution, there's no ruling religion. Like, if you go to Dubai, majority of people are Muslim, right? Because like I think their government, I'm not 100% sure, but I think their government is like, they have Islam built into the government. America, if you look at the Constitution, there's no religion built into the Constitution, right? So when there's no religion built into a Constitution, you see that too. Take it, if you're not looking at the mayor of New York, if you look at previous individuals running for president, one of the main questions, what's your religion? When people run for governor, what's your religion? Why are you asking these questions? Why is that important? What's my religion? We're not making laws based on religion. We shouldn't, right? We shouldn't. But some political parties, they're saying this law should be X'd out, or this law should be passed because this is what God would want. I believe in God, but what are you saying this law should be passed or not passed because of God? That is a form of like biases, implicit bias that exists, right? So I say this should be reduced. The way we can help reduce this for future generation is like take religion out of the classroom, right? And I say that to say because there are some states, right, because of recent laws, religion has been introduced into the classroom. And when that religion is introduced into the classroom, it's mostly Christianity. It's mostly Catholicism, right? It's not Islam. It's not Judaism. It's not nothing like that. So we really have to like live up to the Constitution in a way, low key, and just make everything equal. Like, if you really want to introduce religion into the classroom, okay, introduce Judaism, introduce Islam, introduce Hinduism, if people believe that, right? I mean, people believe that in America. I mean, majority of people in America, that's what I mean, right? We got to introduce like everything to make it truly equal, but that's not being done, and that is going to contribute to implicit bias in future generations for sure, right? How can technology or AI help the detect or minimize bias? It really can't. It really can't. AI, I've never used it, but I've conducted a lot of research with AI, and I've seen AI videos, right? Based on my research, it gives a lot of false positives, right? Where's the false negatives? No, false positive. Right, and false positive, essentially, I've heard students complain that, like, their work that they spent hours working on is being flagged as AI when they actually wrote it, just because, I guess, AI's gotten so good, right? So, how can technology or difficult to do that? Because remember, the individuals who's programming AI are humans. So it's not to say how can AI be used. It relates back to that original discussion that we were having, right? Or I was having, because I can't see your comments, unfortunately. It was relating back to that discussion when I was answering your question that I was saying. We have to first figure out, we can't do anything that's going to make it 100% effective, because I feel like everyone's always going to have bias. That's just my belief. But we have to figure out a way that's like more than 50% effective, where we can train humans, right, or educate humans on how they can decrease their implicit bias, right? And once we identify methods to do that, then those humans can program technology and AI to spread that information more quickly, right, and widespread to individuals, right, because it's humans that are programming these tools. So yeah. Great questions. Let's see. What is one practical step individuals can take today, okay, to reduce their own bias? Yeah, like I said, just exposing yourself to different cultures. You can't, like, I know the most easy way to expose people to different cultures, right, is to watch movies. Movies are not good. Like, movies are good, but like, they're not a good example, because movies do rely on stereotypes. So that's why y'all should all subscribe to Uniquely Mia. If you're a returning supporter, I'm Uniquely Mia, also known as Mia, a dual degree grad student studying public administration and criminal justice, and I show you what my life is like. I got the fashion videos, the eat with me, the technology videos, and a lot more for y'all. And I think by subscribing to my channel, first off, I hope y'all are watching my fully nutritional YouTube videos. So when you watch those videos related to travel, to fashion, to food, to education, and to a lot more, you are gaining cross-cultural experiences, right? The amount of supporters who have watched my channel and you're like, Mia, you taught me about Guyana. I never knew that country existed. I never knew it looked so familiar to my home country. You are learning something. Your bias is decreasing a little bit, right? When you watch one of my education videos and you're like, hey, I learned something. I want to say your bias is decreasing, but you're probably becoming more aware about a topic that you weren't aware of. And maybe I use an example and your bias could be decreased from that example, right? A fashion video. If I dress really interesting sometime, right? So when I am very free with my outfits and dress abstract with my outfits, right? Your bias where you can say, ew, I don't like that outfit, it's decreasing a little bit, right? So you're not going to be quick to judge people based on their outfits, right? So just exposure, honestly, and that can relate. If you don't want to watch my videos all the time, totally understand that. Go outside and just speak to people, right? I know speaking to people can be very scary sometimes, but if you observe people of all ages, you're going to realize speaking to people is not that scary. But like, you do need to immerse yourself. If you're generally used to being around African American individuals, go make some white friends, go make some Hispanic friends, go make some Indian friends, right? If you're used to being around white people all the time, go make friends outside of your race, right? If you're used to being around people who believe in the same religion as yourself, you need to go and communicate with people who are not part of your religion, and that's going to decrease your bias, in my opinion. Okay, Cats, you sent more questions. Okay, nice. Shout out to everyone sending the questions. Really appreciate y'all. Would you rather have a perfect memory or be able to forget anything you wanted? Perfect memory. If I have a perfect memory, guys, you know how much stuff would be so much easier for me, I low-key feel like. So perfect memory for sure. My mind already forgets stuff by itself. Like I have a good memory, but I have a bad memory, right? My long-term memory is not the best, low-key. Honestly, it's really not. If you ask me what I did when I was like 9 or like 14, I don't know, guys. I probably know where I traveled, but I'm gonna get it wrong a little bit. Don't really know. But if you ask me more so recent things that happened, I'll remember that. So I'd rather just have where I never really forget anything. Okay, answer that. What gives you hope that societies can become less biased over time? I guess history, right? Because history, there was a lot of like when terrible things, as the most terrible example, transatlantic slave trade, right? No, I'm assuming the people who were living through that, the victims, they never thought things would get better, right? But at the same time, they did because they were hopeful, right? So what gives me hope that society can get better and less bias over time is history, where things have gotten better over time, when things were much more terrible, much more terrible. So that's why I said in the past, I'll say it again, that's why I'll never complain. Sometimes you'll be on social media and you'll see people part of my demographic and they're like, in 2025 in the United States, it is the worst place to be. They're like, they hate the United States. They're like, it's so terrible here. I look at them and I scroll past their video, right? Because it's really not, right? It's probably not advancing how we would like to advance, which is unfortunate, right? But at the same time, America's history was much worse and it was much more terrible, right? So, yeah. I feel like that's what gives me hope that society is going to become less biased over time, just history within itself. How can budgets unintentionally create or reinforce social inequalities? What is it? The funding of things, right? So the funding for sure. And I can't even say it's budgets, it's schools within itself, right? Remember guys, if you're a returning supporter, we had a whole discussion about HBCUs. HBCUs in its own way reinforces their own social inequalities. Like HBCUs, when I think about one, it's supposed to be a place where African American students, right, or young individuals, they're supposed to go and learn about their history and be empowered and surrounded by people of their own demographic, right? What's the main barrier? Funding, tuition costs. Why in the world am I going to an HBCU that's charging me $50,000 a semester? There's no guarantee I'll get a scholarship every single year when I could go to my PWI and they're charging me like $20,000 or $30,000 a semester, but they're giving me scholarships, they're giving me grants. Which school am I choosing? I'm choosing the PWI every time, all right? Because it's much more affordable. So I feel like it's not necessarily budgets that sometimes unintentionally create or reinforce social inequalities. It is its own, like sometimes it's your own demographic of individuals creating these institutions, right? But a way budgets can have an impact, it can have an impact by not distributing funds equally, right? So, but even then, that doesn't happen because what's the main thing? I feel like SNAP benefits, that was a topic of controversy a lot, especially with the government shutdown that recently happened or ended, right? Most people of a particular demographic, mostly white people were Caucasian on the internet, they did not support SNAP benefits. Why? Because they believed the majority of people who benefited from SNAP was minority individuals. Nope, that's false. If you go look at the statistic, majority who benefit are Caucasian guys, right? So I feel like if most people or if people who were creating the budget had that belief that most people who were like benefiting were minorities and they didn't have access to the demographics, then what could happen is they could have like unintentionally give less money to the SNAP benefit, to the SNAP budget, right? And thus more money to another budget that's going to mostly fund a white program. But the way the federal government works in America, there's not really white programs or black programs. That doesn't really exist in the federal government based on my studies, right? It's just programs that are given, there's just money that's given to the Department of Defense or Department of like Homeland Security, right? It's not really white or black programs. That doesn't really make sense in the federal government. Okay, let's answer some more questions. Would you rather always feel understood or always appreciated? Understood for sure. I feel like I'm definitely appreciated. I don't need to be always appreciated. I feel like too much appreciation is low-key kind of weird, honestly. But I feel like understood is definitely much more better. Would you rather wake up in Freaky Friday or Groundhog Day? Okay, so Groundhog Day is a day where everything repeats, right? And then Freaky Friday, like where you're switched into somebody else's body, right? What type of Groundhog Day? If it's Groundhog Day where I'm at school, no, I don't want to repeat this. No, right? Don't want to do that. But Freaky Friday, whose body am I going to be transported into? Like, if it's somebody super duper successful with ultra connections, at least for a day, I'll make myself known to them, right? So, yeah. So I guess Freaky Friday, depending on who I'm going to be transferred into, which body swap is going to happen for that one day. Would you rather be recognized for your intelligence or your kindness? Great question, great question. Would you rather be recognized for your intelligence or your kindness? I feel like my intelligence for sure. My intelligence. Well, yeah. Yeah, and it depends who's recognizing that intelligence. Because I feel like I'm a kind person. I'm very nice, right? I do consider myself to be a nice person, right? But, like, I don't know. Being nice has never really gotten me stuff. Like, if being nice has gotten me things, it's just being nice to my mom and the people she wants me to be nice to. It's made her happy, right? But, like, I guess academic validation is not good. Really wish I didn't have it. But I guess being intelligent has gotten me things. I'm not creative, guys. I'm not creatively talented. So if anything, all through my life, if I wanted something, I had to be smart. I had to get good grades in school. And I'm rewarded for those good grades, right? As I said, growing up, when you look at society, when you look at my mom, when you're life planning, I was always told that being smart is going to get me things. right? Things that I want to achieve. That may be disproven. But that's what I was always told. And anytime I have gotten things that I want that's in the control of like my mom, it's always because I was intelligent, not necessarily because I was kind all the time, right? And I'm a nice person. So yeah, I feel like intelligence is definitely more important to me. Would you rather know when or how you're going to die? Oh my gosh. What the world? What type of question is this? Would you rather know when or how you're going to die? When. I'd rather know when. How? What if it's like Final Destination style? That'd be so creepy. I'd rather know when, right? Because if I know when and somebody's like, in the next 10 years, unfortunately. Okay, bet. I'm not doing no more schoolwork. I'm done. I got enough money to last me for the next 10 years. I do not care. I want to achieve all these goals. My mom want me to achieve all these goals. You go and do it. I only got 10 years left. I'm not going to be one of those individuals where I know I got 10 years left and they want to still achieve academic, a whole bunch of stuff. Forget about you. Forget about dream career. Forget about academics. I'm doing everything I want to do. Where's the next plane ticket going? What? Where we going? Where we going? That's what I want to do. So I'd rather know when, right? Because I guess even though I feel like some people saying if they know when, that could give them a lot of anxiety because the days would be counting down, right? But like for me, I guess I've had a syllabus for so long, so I feel like the idea of having a syllabus for your life, right, on when you're gonna expire, is not that nerve-wracking for me, right? It's just going to give you a perspective on when you gotta achieve or do whatever you wanted to do, so that way when the time comes, you know, there's no regret, right? You're not gonna be like, oh man, I wish I did this, because I had enough time to do it, so I guess I did it already. All right, what are we saying? Okay, read that. What role does public participation play in creating just and fair budgets? No role. Nope. No role at all. The only role that the public plays in creating the budget is electing your constituents, your Congress individuals into office, and once they're there, they're going to do whatever they want. So yeah, that's the only role that the public plays, voting presidents and mayors and governments into office and telling them what you want them to do. But you could tell them whatever you want, they're not going to listen to you 9 times out of 10. How can data and however, if Unique Lamia ever runs for congresswoman, governor, senator, president, right, of the United States of America, I'll do it, right? I'll work in the best of my ability, within my power, to implement your views that y'all want, all right? If you're a United States citizen planning to reside in the state of New York or another state, if I decide to move to another state, keep that in mind, right? Keep that in mind. What are we saying? How can data, and analytics improve budget planning? You mean, how can it improve it? I guess it can just improve it by like making sure that like, what is it? Estimates for inflation and is just accounted for, right? Just accounted for when the new budget for like the next fiscal year is created. So yeah, like keeping account how much stuff was purchased, how much money was left over, things like that. What tools or software do you recommend for budget analysis? I mean, I've only used Excel. My professor has really introduced me to the most basic budget stuff, Excel, right? So yeah, that's what but I do know there are probably more advanced things, right? But when I took a budgeting class, he just showed us Excel. All right, so our next questions are, would you rather never be able to celebrate your birthday again or have to throw a big party every year? Never celebrate. Yeah, never celebrate. And I don't think that's me. I feel like some of y'all be like, hey, me, you don't want to throw a big party every year. I mean, if I throw a big party every year, that means what? A whole bunch of people would come, right? Probably people in my family would come when they never really celebrated my birthday, when I never celebrated my birthday with them before. So they would just be coming for what? Right? So, yeah, I've celebrated my birthday by myself before. It sucks. Like, honestly, it sucks, but it's okay. It's like when I celebrate my birthday by myself in the past, it was just like another day. So yeah. Yeah. I don't like big parties. Spend a whole bunch of money on people. Like, yeah, don't like that. Would you rather be able to control the weather or the traffic? Weather or traffic? Weather or traffic? Good question. Very interesting. I never thought about it before. Weather or traffic? I guess weather? Yeah. The weather for sure. Why? I don't know. I guess I have a license, but like my mom's always scared of me to drive when I'm with her. So, I guess traffic has never really been something that I was annoyed about, you can say, right? Okay, what are we saying? What's your next question? Can you think of a recent budget decision made by government that you disagree with? Why? Budget made by the government that I disagree with. Well, I want to say it's let's see the Doge website. Have you guys ever looked at the Doge website? That website sometimes goes down. It's probably not even in existence anymore. I can't even spell it. How do you spell Doge? That's just weird. I can't find a website. But if you guys haven't heard of the Doge website, it was on X, formerly known as Twitter, so it's probably not even in existence anymore. However, that was a website that my professor showed me last semester when I had his budgeting class, right? And it was a very interesting website. It essentially showed it showed where all the money, like not all the money, but like showed where the United States executive branch, i.e. presidents, were sending money. Why did they send like $4 billion to Nigeria? Why were they sending money to like Dubai, China? They were sending millions to billions of dollars to these outside countries. And I'm like, when I saw that, I'm like, what? That's taxpayer dollars that's going out there. And like, I'm a person, if a country needs help the country. But I'm an American citizen. I live in America. I live in the US of A. There's a lot of improvement that $4,000 or $4 billion can do for United States citizens and people who reside in America. We don't have universal health care, but yet everybody in Congress is like, we can't have universal health care. You're sending $4 billion to Nigeria. What are you doing? No, help Americans first. Help the homeless epidemic in America first. Food insecurity in America first. Health insurance in America first. Education in America first. We're not number one in education. People love to say America is like the most advanced country in the world, i.e. Americans. Yeah, look at our education. Put that money back into the United States of America. Help Americans first. And then after we do all that, then send the money out to other countries, right? But those are definitely some recent budget decisions that the United States government has made that I disagree with. So if you guys are from one of those countries that I listed, nothing wrong with y'all country, right? Shout out to you guys, right? Shout out to you guys. You guys are more than welcome on the channel. But like I said, I'm an American. I live in America. I pay taxes in America. I'd rather my tax dollars go to the Americans first, the country first, and then go out to y'all. So yeah. What are we saying? What is the most difficult budget decision a public administration might face? Most difficult budget decision a public administration might face? My professor described the most difficult budget decision a public administrator might face is how to spend the money out at the end of the fiscal year. And that's why reckless spending occurs, right? Because if you look at budgets, right, 9 times out of 10 departments, sometimes they get billions, if not, sometimes they get millions and billions of dollars, right? Certain departments. And when they get that money, that's more than enough, right? But what happens is they don't want excess money, because at the end of the fiscal year, if a department has extra money, when they're creating the new budget, they're going to look and say, oh, that department has extra money, we're going to cut how much money you get. why do you want a pay cut? Nobody wants a pay cut, right? So they recklessly spend the money. So I guess even though it doesn't sound like a difficult decision, if you're a manager, if you're a public administrative department and you want to recklessly spend the money, you have to like look and see. That's why sometimes at the end of fiscal years, even offices like my school department, like public administration office, at the end of the year, they have their own budget. My professor was like, that's why at the end of the year, they'll have like 50 bulks or pages, or what is it, cases? Yeah, 50 cases of print and paper. Like that's why they'll order like the fancy mugs or like the orientation bags. They order stuff in bulk. So they're recklessly spending the money because they want more money from the school for the budget year, for the next budget year. So yeah. Our next question is, what do you think of doing movie reviews? Okay, so you're requesting that I do movie reviews? Yeah, for sure, I can do that. I more so do the movie reviews in my, YouTube live streams, like now, if you guys ask me a question about a movie, but I'm going to interpret that question, you would like me to make like a YouTube shorts or a full instructional YouTube video about movie reviews. I can do that. I've done that in the past before. So yeah, great idea. Okay. How should governments handle budget shortfalls or deficits? Hope I'm not answering your homework questions because, guys, like you gotta support your stuff with in-text citations, right? But okay, how should the government handle budget shortfalls or deficits? Shortfalls, so what, they ran out of money? Well, if the government runs out of money, there's always a contingency plan. They can always get money somewhere else. It's not to say when we're looking at the government, particularly federal government, right? That's where I can mostly speak on because I learned more so about the federal government in my classes rather than state, local. So when you're looking at the federal government, if the budget, like if once again, food, SNAP benefits, right? And that was the most recent thing that was going viral on social media for people because it was cut, right? So if you're looking at that, it did happen. It ran out. Like the money ran out. Okay? Mostly because the government was closed, but the money ran out nonetheless. And when that money ran out, they had, like $5 billion, right? They had more money. They had it somewhere else. So all they have to do is ask for more money. 9 times out of 10, if you're looking at things like food or national defense, those are always going to be funded. You'll never see a situation, at least if the country is running how it should be and like everything's good and the best interests of the people are looked at, you will never find a situation where national defense and food for people is never funded because those are necessities. We need to fund our military, right? If our military is not paid and somebody would invade the US of A, who's going to protect us, right? So those are always going to be funded and money's always going to be found. For food, the same thing. People need to eat. Eating is for survival. If people can't survive food, there should always be a way to fund for that food. So that's why there are contingency plans like that $5 billion that was set aside for that, right? Backup plans. But 9 times out of 10, if you're looking at like something little like my school, like once again, let's use the public administration department. If they run out of money, 9 times out of 10, what's going to happen is they'll either ask another department for money. And if the other department gives them money, great. But if the other department doesn't give them money, then that's where they'll just have to like stretch their resources out, right? Because there's something known as mandatory spending and discretionary spending in the government. And if stuff isn't mandatory, like food, like national defense, it's always going to be funded. Discretionary spending, Social Security, sometimes unemployment benefits, not top priority, right? So yeah. But America's a lot of money, guys. A lot of money. You really, for a long time, you necessarily don't have to worry about America ever going broke, right? Because they have a lot of money. America has a ridiculous amount of money. What you do have to worry about, though, is the value of the American dollar dropping, because that could happen. Or you just have to worry about the money being spent how it should and the money being released when it should, right? But compared to countries like, let's say, South America, right? I go to Guyana a lot. You get a lot for U.S. and Guyana. Guyana could, I guess, you could say, run out of money if something were to happen. Because I guess their money's not saved, right? They don't have a lot of contingency plans. America's not like that. America has a lot of contingency plans and money to support their own government, right? So, yeah. What are we saying? How should the government handle? Okay, read that. How can transparency and budgeting increase public trust? Well, budgets are public. They should be, at least. I've never looked into it, but budgets are generally public. Anything that relates to the federal government, local government, state government, it's public. It's public record. So transparency is there, right? It's there already. Us as individuals in society, we just have to take the initiative to say you want to go and research that information. That's why, if you are an American citizen, something controversial, or you can say it's happening with the president right now, the main reason as to why most people were like in uproar, we can say, about that controversial thing that's happening, because it wasn't public record when it should have been public record, right? Because anything, almost anything that has to do with somebody in public office, right? It's public record. Like if you look at mayors, former presidents, you can see their tax records. You can see their emails sometimes, right? It's public record, right? So public trust is always there. So I can't really answer. I can't really say we should do this to the budget to increase transparency, to increase public trust, because it's already there. The public isn't just using it, right? That's why I always say, right, if you are an individual in society, particularly in America, and you don't like what's happening in America, don't sit down and complain about it. Because if you sit down and complain about it, you're not doing anything. Because you, as a citizen in America, there's more citizens than there are politicians, right? That's just a fact. So American citizens, you have the power essentially, right? But you have to utilize your power efficiently. And how do you utilize your power? You run for office, or you vote constituents into office or out of office, or you go outside and protest, right? Execute your First Amendment right. So yeah, nobody should ever complain. If you are from America, you should never really complain to say, hey, I don't have no power if I'm a citizen. I don't have this. You do have power. You're not using it, or the mass majority of people are unaware they have that power, so they're not using it. So yeah. So we got 3 more questions, and then from a supporter, and then I think that may be it. What are we saying? Okay. Would you love to work in the fashion industry if the opportunity came along? I guess to appease my younger self. For sure, for my younger self, but like with my current degrees, if I were to work in the fashion industry, it'd probably be like more so in the corporate setting, right? But if it wasn't in the corporate setting and I were to one day work in the fashion setting, it would just be for my younger self. If you could fly out today, which country would you choose and why? I always say it, but I never actually thought about that country. Okay, if my mom called me and was like, okay, where do you want to go today? What country would I choose? Okay. I'm already going to some countries I really want to go to, so not those countries. One, I gotta choose one. Okay, it's so hard to choose one. Okay. Got that. I don't know. It's so hard to choose one. Okay, maybe Egypt or like South Korea or Japan. One of those 3. I would decide based on funds, because I feel like no matter how wealthy I would be, I would always go to the first place that's most affordable, right? So I say Egypt because when I was younger, I was obsessed with Greek mythology, right? Love Greek. I'm still obsessed, not Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology. Still obsessed with that. Pyramids, really cool, right? So obviously one of the world wonders. How can I not want to see the pyramids, right? South Korea. Mostly I say South Korea and or Japan because I'm on TikTok a lot, and when people go to Japan or South Korea, I know they're different countries, but social media portrays it as very similar countries. Why are things so affordable in South Korea and Japan? Like Americans are going there with the US dollar, and they're like, things are super duper affordable. I thought their money was worth more than ours, but apparently it's not like that. The nails, the fashion in South Korea and Japan, top tier. Shopping, top tier. Food looks really good. So yeah, that's mostly why I would go to one of those 3 countries. I can't really choose one because the airline price would definitely determine which one I go to first. What are we saying? Whose music concert would you love to go to if the artist if it was the artist's last performance ever? It's a really good question. I'm not really a concert person. My mom has taken me to concerts, and like I really didn't like them much. It was just really loud, a lot of people, and I didn't really know all the songs. But if I had to choose, and it was their last ever performance. Last ever performance. Okay. I have to choose an artist whose songs I know a decent amount of, right? Decent amount. Probably Shawn Mendes. Yeah, Shawn Mendes, or like yeah, I don't care. Well, my mom likes Justin Bieber, but like probably Shawn Mendes. When I was younger, I used to like his songs a lot, right? And sometimes I'll still listen to his songs, and I feel like his songs is like, you can hear it, even if you didn't listen to it for a while, you can hear his songs again, and you're like, you're gonna remember it for some reason. I don't know why. Anytime the radio plays a song, I'm like, I haven't heard this in a while. But I know your song. I know your song. Justin Bieber has some cool songs, and I know a decent amount of Justin Bieber songs, but it's like, what if I don't, right? And then some people said, yeah, kind of weird at the concerts, right? So, yeah. But, I don't know. I'm not really a concert person. Or Avicii. Avicii's another one, but he's no longer alive. I've recently found his songs, his music, and it's really good. It's like very, what is it? Not empowering songs, but it's songs to say, let's do what we want to do now. But then we understand, like, if you know how he died, you understand why he's saying songs like that, which is really unfortunate, man. He was giving the signs to everybody. But, yeah, Avicii for sure is another good one. So, yeah. I like Ariana Grande, but, like, I don't know enough for her songs. So, yeah, those are the two artists probably. So yeah, guys, I think those are all the questions that was emailed to me from supporters. So shout out to each and every one of y'all. Thank you so much for engaging with this live stream and being very flexible with it. I know for the supporters who had to send me those emails, you went out of your way, right? You went out of your way to ask me these questions via email. I really do appreciate y'all. This Friday, I'm going to live stream at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and my, the chat should be back on. So yeah, I'll also be posting like those full nutritional YouTube videos and YouTube shorts. I haven't forgot about the money count for Monday. I did record the video today, but I just haven't posted it. So I'm going to post it this evening or maybe tomorrow. I have to find time to edit it, and I'll post that money count video. Remember, I'm saving about $11 every single day until the end of 2025, just to teach ourselves healthy saving practices. And however amount of money you have left at the end of the year, you can spend it however you want. So as I said, if you want to save $5 a day, $2 a day, $1 a day, $30 a day, $10 a day, you can do it. All right. And this is your reminder. If you hopped onto the saving challenge or journey with Uniquely Mia, remember to save the money. And if you want to start today, you can start saving today. All right, guys. So remember, I'm Uniquely Mia, also known as Mia. I show you what my life is like. I have the fashion videos, the Eat With Me, the technology videos, the travel videos, live streams, and a lot more. And you are welcome for your positivity and uniqueness. So make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your post notifications. If you want more of Uniquely Mia after the live stream, immerse yourself into a world of learning by watching my videos. All right, guys? So stay positive, and as Uniquely Mom, Queen Mother always says, don't let anybody rob you of your joy. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your evening, morning, afternoon, whenever you're watching this stream.